Hello everyone, welcome to your swing trading stock market outlook for the week of August 14th. Each week I go through the same process, looking at the overall market conditions, health indicators, recent watch list performance, sector performance, and that lets me know how aggressively I want to deploy capital. And these are the watch lists I'm looking at. So this is basically the first stage of the process. What this video is about is looking at overall market conditions. Then if that is good, then I'll look to individual stocks for the patterns and triggers that I like to see in those trades. And you can see the stocks that I'm watching on these lists here. I look at 4 different market indicators or 4 different indices to give me a basis for how the overall US stock market is doing. And then we also have a couple other things on here such as the Canadian market and just another chart of interest right now, Bitcoin. So the NASDAQ still in an overall uptrend. You can see we are in a pullback at the moment. I have the S&P, some of these declines marked off. This first one, 9% after the rally started at the start of the year. After that, we've kind of been in 3% pullbacks, and we're at a 3% pullback right now. So this is still a very common type of pullback. Nothing that concerns me too much at the moment. If it were to continue to sell off, then we'd be in a deeper pullback. But at the moment, nothing too concerning. Everything in a short-term uptrend still at the moment, despite being in a pullback. Overall, higher highs, higher swing lows. We are still at higher swing lows on the S&P 500. The last low is down here. Even the Canadian index, which has been a little bit weaker, a little bit more rangy, short-term uptrend, at least since June, we're seeing these higher swing highs, higher swing lows. Same with the Russell 2000, a little bit more rangy. We haven't cleared above prior highs, but we have gotten close, and we are in a pullback right now. Bitcoin, we've been, after this sharp move up in June, just moving sideways a little bit, taking out some of these prior swing lows. In prior videos I talked about that when we were ranging here, said probably would come down to 29,000, take out these prior swing lows, and now we're going to see if we can start moving back to the upside. So overall, price action okay, still in short-term uptrends. Indices, yes, we're in a pullback, but overall I would say we're in pretty good shape. And zeroing in on the S&P 500, this looks more at some market health indicators, the underlying strength of the overall index and the stock market in general. You can see zoomed in here, a couple different pullbacks, late 2022, 8%, 9%, and then as discussed, these more 3% pullbacks, which we're in right now. 55% of S&P 500 stocks above their 50-day moving average, 53% of all U.S. stocks above their 50-day moving average. So getting close to that 50% level. But this is just a very crude measure of how many stocks are in short-term uptrends. We still have more than half of stocks in a short-term uptrend. So that's good. And again, not that the 50-day moving average is anything special. It's just, as said, a crude measure of how stocks are performing, and overall pretty good at the moment. Volume, not important to me at the moment. This is the daily average movement of the S&P 500. Very calm. We haven't seen any of these 2% down days in a long time, going back all the way to like February, and got a couple bigger down days in March, and been pretty quiet. And that is indicative of an uptrend. During uptrends, we see low volatility, low daily movement. So this is what we want to see. No strong sell-off days. As soon as we have a strong sell-off day, I'll usually back off. So this is still pretty good for the bulls. Still showing bulls are in control. Sellers aren't coming in mass, at least not in a long time. We have the NYSE advanced decline line. This is advancing stocks minus declining stocks as a cumulative number. And it had a nice strong run up here, trending higher. We moved a little bit sideways, but it's been pretty flat while the S&P has been moving sideways. That is good. It shows overall the New York Stock Exchange, which is a very broad measure of stocks, as it includes stocks from all industries, all different sizes. So overall, advancing stocks holding up pretty well against declining stocks, even during this pullback. That's a favorable thing. This is up volume versus total volume. I'm only looking at really high levels or really low levels, like when we have 10% upside volume or 90% upside volume on a day, and we haven't hit any of those levels in a very long time. So nothing important here, and this is more at turning points anyway. So we got some really key levels way back when these trends started. 90% upside days late 2022, 90% upside days late November. So those were important, not so important at the moment, unless we started to see more of them. So those are basically the values just discussed. Sectors on the move. More got hit last week. We saw a bit of a down week, seeing a little bit more of a discrepancy in a few weeks ago. Everything was green, and we're seeing a few get hit. So technology, consumer cyclicals got hit a little bit. Moving down the list, energy strong on all three. So what do we want to be watching? Well, energy is important. Healthcare has moving stronger recently. Healthcare top on the last week. Healthcare second from the top on the last month, but a little bit lower down here on the 3-month performance. But it's showing strength recently. Consumer cyclicals and technology, even though they got hit this week and have moved down the list a little bit on the 1 month, still quite strong overall over the last 3 months. So I'd still be interested in those. Same goes for industrials. And again, this is only really relevant if you need to really cut down your scanning time and you only wanted to focus on a couple specific sectors. I just run my scan if I have time, and I'll look through all the sectors, because there's usually at least a few even in some of the weaker performing sectors that might do okay. And generally, as I would say as a general rule, things that show up on your stock list are strong, so they're going to be part of those stronger sectors anyway. So what am I doing right now? Well, if I see setups I like and they trigger, I'm going to keep deploying capital on swing trades. Conditions overall are pretty good, and I am aware that we're in a pullback, but it's not a major concern at the moment. Naturally, when that happens, when prices fall, we're going to get into less trades. There's been fewer trades in the last week or so than there was a few weeks ago when we were moving up and everything was running higher. So the strategies naturally protect us from that, because we need the price to move up through a trigger, through a prior candle high, to get us into those trades, or break out of a consolidation or out of a pattern to get us into the trades. When the prices, when most of them are dropping, we're not going to get that. So it naturally backs us off. So a lot fewer positions recently, and that's exactly what we want. Fewer positions when the market's dropping. Then as it starts to level off, you're going to see stronger stocks start breaking out ahead of the indices, and we're going to be ready. And that's why I still want to be poised and ready, watching some of these stocks on these lists. So if I am trading, conditions are good, so I'm willing to deploy capital. Also, as always, as I discuss in all these videos, I'm also day trading the Euro USD and day trading stocks. A little bit more, you get to trade every day as opposed to swing trading, which is more you get out there, you take some trades when conditions are good, and then conditions maybe aren't so good for a while, so you're backed off. Day trading you can do every day. There's also passive investing, which I'm just buying the same ETFs over and over again each month, just putting into them whether the market goes up or down, and then that way you're covered even if the swing trading is not a lot going on. We have that, and that's just more of a long-term approach. You can read all about that in that passive investing ebook here. So that is your stock market outlook for this week. Overall, still liking what I'm seeing out there. Hope you have a good trading week.